In November 2022, Cristiano Ronaldo sat across Piers Morgan and burned Manchester United to the ground. But buried in that interview was something quieter, something most people missed.
The best one, but they live in a different era. The mentality are not the same.
He wasn't talking about Garnacho specifically, he was describing a pattern. Young players who get a taste of glory and think the work is done. Players who copy the swagger but skip the sacrifice.
What's the difference?
The anger. I think the anger. I think that they have the things more easily. Everything it's easily. They don't suffer. And I think they don't care. I don't mean only I feel in Manchester United, but all the teams, all leagues in the world, the youngers, they are not the same of my generation.
Ronaldo had seen it before, the hunger that disappears quickly, the potential that rots because no one wants to do the boring work. He was drawing a portrait, he just didn't know who would walk into it. 18 months later, Alejandro Garnacho became that portrait. Ronaldo never said his name, but honestly, he didn't have to. Alejandro Garnacho and Cristiano Ronaldo are two different players today, but take you back to their early days, we can see some similarities. Both Garnacho and Ronaldo broke into the same club around the same age, and for those who watched Ronaldo blossom at Manchester United, you can even say in the same position, same swagger. But Garnacho didn't just admire Ronaldo, he studied him. The post is on his childhood wall, the celebration he copied before he'd even scored a goal. The Instagram posts, the worship. This wasn't casual fandom, this was obsession. Garnacho wanted to be Ronaldo. And when he broke into the Manchester United first team in 2022, the comparisons wrote themselves. Tricky, direct, arrogant in the way that wingers need to be, willing to do things that shouldn't work, and sometimes making them work anyway. In fact, when you put a young Ronaldo's career and Garnacho side by side, you see something truly interesting. The year is 2004, and Cristiano Ronaldo is turning 20. His second full season at Manchester United. Still raw, still inconsistent, still learning when to pass and when to shoot. His numbers that season? 5 goals in all competitions. For Garnacho, he only just turned 19 in 2023. And it was the same with Ronaldo. His second full season. Raw, inconsistent, learning when to pass and when to shoot as well. His numbers, 7 goals and 4 assists. So on paper, Garnacho at 20 was more productive than Ronaldo at 20. Better goal return, more assists, more direct contributions. The stats don't lie. If you put the numbers in a spreadsheet and nothing else, you'd say Garnacho was ahead of schedule. So why doesn't it feel that way? The reason is that numbers don't capture what matters. Ronaldo at 20 was a project becoming a machine. First player at the training ground, last to leave, studying defenders and strikers like a forensic scientist, adding muscles, removing weaknesses, listening to Sir Alex Ferguson like his career depended on it, because it actually did. Ferguson would later describe Ronaldo's talent as obvious, but his obsession was what set him apart. The extra hours, the relentless and almost pathological need to improve every single day. That was Ronaldo at 20, not a finished product, but a player who decided consciously, deliberately to become the best in the world. But Garnacho at 20 was missing team meetings, late for training, getting public warnings from his manager before he'd even established himself. Different habits, different hunger, different trajectory. The gap between them isn't talent. It never was. In the summer of 2022, Garnacho arrived at pre-season as one of the most exciting teenagers in English football. The hype was real and the potential was obvious. The future was bright. But something was wrong, and one person saw it before anyone else. The man whose celebration he copied. The man who would assist his first senior goal just months later. The man who looked at Garnacho and saw himself without the discipline that made the difference. Ronaldo knew, and in November 2022, he said it out loud. In the 2022-23 season, Garnacho broke through the first team. But before the goals, before the headlines, before any of it, there were problems. Erik ten Hag had just arrived at Manchester United. New manager, new standards, no exceptions. His rules were simple. Hard work, show up on time, earn everything. But Garnacho, he wasn't meeting them. In the pre-season reports, Ten Hag reportedly cautioned Garnacho for missing team meetings and being late for trainings. Not once, repeatedly. The kind of behavior that gets teenagers frozen out before they can even get a chance. Ten Hag's response? He benched them. 0 minutes in friendlies. Message sent. Garnacho apologized and showed the work in trainings thereafter. Soon enough, Ten Hag handed Garnacho his first senior start in a game versus Sheriff Tiraspol. United won 3-0. He played so well that after the match, Ten Hag faced the press and said something revealing.
I think it was a good performance from him. He did what I expect him to do.
He praised Garnacho's improved attitude and resilience, said he was previously dissatisfied and that things have changed with him. But despite clearing the air, those words hung over Garnacho. A manager publicly admitting he's had problems with an 18-year-old and publicly acknowledging the kid had addressed them. So 1 week later, Garnacho started in a Europa League match against Real Sociedad and found himself on the score sheet assisted by Cristiano Ronaldo, his idol whose celebrations he'd been copying since childhood. That symbolism was almost too perfect, the torch being passed one generation to the next, the idol feeding the heir. After the game, Garnacho posted on Instagram, 18 years and 125 days dreaming of this moment. Thanks, idol. And then he started doing things that made you forget he was a teenager. 10 days later, during a game at Fulham, United needed a winner. Garnacho was on the end of it to score an injury time winner, his first Premier League goal that silenced the home crowd. 2 months later, in the Manchester derby at Old Trafford, United were chasing a winner, and in the 82nd minute, Garnacho picked up the ball on the left, drove forward and found Marcus Rashford for the finish. A comeback win for United. Social media exploded. Generational talent, the next Ronaldo. This kid is different. 4 months, he looked like everything Manchester United had been waiting for. At this stage, he was ahead of Ronaldo at the same age. Better output, bigger moments, higher ceiling. But Ten Hag's words echoed. The question was whether improvement would be enough. Ronaldo didn't think so, and 3 weeks before that Fulham winner, he said it out loud. That famous interview with Piers Morgan in 2022 was explosive. He spoke about the Glazers, Ten Hag, the disrespect, the betrayal. Over 90 minutes of television that would end his Manchester United career and dominate headlines for weeks. Everyone focused on the drama, the fallout, but many missed out on his take on the younger players.
They listen, but this is why we have 2 ears. You listen from one side and they go away from another side, so...
Ronaldo wasn't naming names, he wasn't pointing fingers at anyone specific, he was just describing a pattern. In his words, these types of players think they know everything and they don't learn more. They're young, talented, given a taste of success and convinced that the work is done. Players who skip the sacrifice, who hears advice and let it float out the other ear.
They don't care.
He talked about potential versus reality, about what separates the players who make it from the ones who fade, about the gap between talent and trophies that most people never cross. And here's the thing, Ronaldo knew this pattern because he'd almost been that player himself. 18 years old, arriving at Old Trafford with tricks, speed, and an ego the size of Portugal. Same raw ability, same flair, same arrogance that makes swingers exciting and infuriating in equal measure. But Ronaldo also had something most young players don't. Sir Alex Ferguson. The hairdryer, the 6 AM phone calls, and when he looked at the next generation, he saw the raw material everywhere. What he didn't see was the guardrails. He wasn't criticizing anyone, he wasn't issuing a warning. The interview aired, the world focused on the Glazers and Ten Hag, and the clips about young players got buried under the noise. 1 month later, Ronaldo's contract was terminated. He left Manchester United for the last time, bridges burning behind him. But the warning stayed, sitting there on the camera, for anyone willing to listen. Garnacho had a choice, take the medicine his idol had prescribed, or let it expire on the shelf. 2 seasons later, the question has an answer. Let's start with the numbers. On paper, Garnacho was ahead, but Ronaldo broke the 20-goal barrier for the first time in his career at 21 years old. 23 goals in all competitions, 9 in the Premier League alone. He won the PFA Player of the Year, PFA Young Player of the Year, PFA Fansers Player of the Year, and FWA Footballer of the Year, becoming the first player in history to sweep all 4. Manchester United won the league and Ronaldo was just getting started, because just a year or 2 later he became the best player in the world. Garnacho at 21 tells a different story. This season in the Premier League campaign, he managed 1 goal and 4 assists, and the season's almost over. For any other player, it might not be terrible, but this is not the leap you expect from a player who is supposedly tracking ahead of Ronaldo. And it's not just the numbers. Watch when things go wrong. The body language, the dropped shoulders, the jog back when the team needs a sprint. Watch him when he loses the ball, the frustration directed outward, never inward. Always someone else's fault. Watch him defend, or rather, watch him not defend. The positioning that leaves his teammates exposed. Ten Hag saw it 2 years ago, called it out publicly. 2 years later, the same question marks remain. The same holes in his game, the same gaps between potential and production. Ronaldo at 21 was winning every individual award in English football and lifting the Premier League trophy. Garnacho at 21 is fighting for minutes at Chelsea after being told to pray he could find a club willing to take him. When Garnacho scored that wonder goal against Everton, it earned him the Puskás Award and everyone believed he would go on to become a Manchester United great. But that moment was also how Garnacho is what he is today. His ego took over his mind and body instead of working even harder. Before Chelsea played Arsenal in the second leg of the Carabao Cup, he said, "If Manchester United can beat them there, we can do it perfectly." The aftermath of that game, Chelsea were knocked out. Garnacho only played 15 minutes. Worse still, he touched the ball just 6 times. Garnacho is only 21. There's time, there's talent, there's a platform at Chelsea most players would kill for. But time means nothing if you don't use it, and talent means nothing if you think it's enough. Ronaldo left Manchester United in November 2022, burned every bridge, torched his legacy. But before he left, he described exactly what would happen to players who mistake potential for a rival. He wasn't predicting Garnacho's future, he was describing a pattern. Garnacho just chose to become it.